Me is like one of my favorite hip hop albums ever. Like you're saying, Fisher, the cover art is so dope. Everything about it is just fucking ill. And The Shining's number 2 in '95 for me.
Don't mind you up, kid.
Yeah, well, only built for Cuban Links. That's my number 2. Raekwon, Glaciers of Ice, Incarcerated Scarfaces, all that stuff. I don't know how I had this much time to listen to all this music. Like you don't have like that much time in the world. And I was actually listening. I could recite verses on everything. So it's like I must have had a lot of time on my hands.
You a kid though.
You're a kid. Yeah, you're a young buck. You got 8 periods of class.
Right.
8, 9 periods of class. They got homework in every class. But I still knew that. like it was just easy. It wasn't even work. So it was like me just thinking about this podcast is funny because it's bringing me back. Because I usually don't sometimes I have these discussions, but that was the album when they was talking about Big, where Ghostface was talking about Big, so he was biting Nas style. He's like, that's when he's like, I don't want nobody to sound like me or no album.
Right.
So that brought me back when he came at Action Bronson. Like, I already told y'all before. I don't want to no album. So it's bringing me back then. Because
crazy.
Part of the albums, like any Wu-Tang member, especially like Ghostface and like Raekwon, was they skits. It wasn't only the song, but their skits was hilarious. And it was like, the skits were just as entertaining as the music.
Right.
So I played that Purple Tape.
Shark Biters.
You ask anybody the Purple Tape. They're like, oh, you ain't got to say nobody's name. Yeah, you got the Purple Tape, though. Everybody gonna know what you're talking about. That's an unadulterated classic, man. That's my number 2.
Why you ain't got my tape? I'm gonna let you hold it, man.
Huh?
He was saying the skit. That's the skit from it's my killer tape. But
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Is this on anyone else's list?
Yeah. I mean, we on ones now, right?
Yeah.
Number 1.
So my number 1 is the Purple Tape.
Yeah. I knew you.
Yeah. I mean, dude. I mean, the Infamous is like the Holy Grail. So I guess Purple Tape is like Queen Diana. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's the Purple Tape. Like we're not even calling it the actual album. It has another name. Like it has another asterisk.
Yeah, Purple Tape.
And oh man, that's just so ill. When that came out, his tape was purple.
How many of y'all actually got it on cassette?
Absolutely, I had it. Had it. I mean, it broke. Actually, they reissued it. Like I think this year, 20th anniversary joint.
It's in like a little wooden box.
You can get it. Yeah, you can get it and all that. But just to be real quick with it, I mean, Raekwon, the Wu-Tang slang. Raekwon and Ghostface, you would not have Styles and Jadakiss. To me, they had that like Wu-Tang had so many different flavors. Raekwon and Ghostface were like the kind of street, kind of like the drug dealer rap. They had that going on, and
when you had them together, Ghostface and Ray together, it's just
combination.
See, I like Iron Man so much more than I don't know. That's just me. I mean,
Purple Tape is my number 1 album, 1995. Period. Quote comma.
Because Iron Man didn't come out until '96, but it's one of my favorites. Shit.
Who's up?
My number 1's Do You Want More, and obviously we already talked about greatest MCs of '95 and Black Thought being at the top of my list. I had to put Do You Want More just because that's being as a kid, we talked about how we found hip hop, but for me, I was in a sleepover at my friend's house during the winter, and we were sliding down the stairs on a fucking sleeping blanket. I'm sure you guys remember doing that shit. And we slid down the stairs, and his older brother had a MPC, and he had a record player hooked up to it, and he also had a CD player hooked up to it, and he had the Roots Do You Want More inside the CD player, and I just opened it up and saw that purple CD, and I saw them dudes on there. I was like, I gotta hear this album. I gotta press play on this CD, and I pressed play, and I mean, the Roots are probably my favorite group. So yeah, Do You Want More? It's in all of our lists, but yeah, that's my number one. It's a singer.
That's a weird coincidence that they got the purple tape and they got the purple CD. With
Yeah, why didn't they just make it blue like the album cover? Do You Want More? Like I don't understand why the CD.
I remember that shit too. On the disc, it had like the picture of the Roots in purple.
Yeah,
black and purple. Yeah, I remember that.
It's so weird.
But my number one is Mobb Deep, The Infamous. For me, the main thing is that at the time, my pops was a business owner in Philadelphia. He owned 6 shoe stores throughout the city of Philadelphia called Ronald Phillip Limited. And he had one on Sansom Street, one on basically 20th and Sansom. And at the time, I was coming down there to help him work or do whatever the fuck I do. And this cat that worked for my dad at the time put me on to Mobb Deep. But I had already known about Survival of the Fittest. I already heard that song because that was on a music video or I had the single on cassette or some shit. But he was like, yo, Survival of the Fittest is cool, but let me play you this track and then you can tell me what you think if that's better or not. And he played Shook Ones Part 2 for me. And that shit just blew my fucking dome.
Yeah, everyone knows that song.
It blew my fucking dome, and then he said, he gave me the cassette. This cat named Chris used to work for my dad, and he gave me the cassette. And he said, "Yo, you keep this. You keep this." I was 12, I think, because it was 95. I was born in 83, and it was the year it came out. I was 12 years old. He said, "Keep this cassette," and it was the Mobb Deep. Not like a mixtape, not a nothing but the actual
it was
cassette that you no it was a cassette you buy at the wall or some shit, you know what I mean, or Sam Goody. And he fucking gave me that cassette and he said, listen to Shook Ones Part 2 and tell me if you think it's better than Survival of the Fittest. And immediately I was like, oh shit. And then I went to work because I went into my basement and started memorizing every fucking lyric of Prodigy's verse on Shook Ones Part 2 and Havoc's, but especially Prodigy's, the first verse on Shook Ones Part 2. And in my mind, I was preparing myself to perform that song. I don't know where the fuck I was planning on performing it, at a talent show or what, but I was gonna know it word for word. Shook Ones Part 2, Prodigy's verse. I was gonna know every word.
It's funny you say perform because a year later I was doing the same thing, trying to master doubles of Shook Ones on my turntables, like trying to make a performance out of it with that song.
Right.
Because that's what I heard all the DJs doing, and like that's why when I think of Mobb Deep, for me, it just that's like when Shook One. I think about practicing being a DJ. Like
well, that's just because to show you that Shook Ones Part 2, the influence it had, and then. Think how it stood the test of time, because you look at fucking 8 Mile.
Exactly.
And fucking Eminem is spitting over the Shook Ones Part 2 instrumental on that movie. And look how many people are bowing down to that fucking movie and didn't even know about hip-hop before they watched that movie.
Right.
You know? So, that song and that beat are fucking legendary until after we die and after our kids die. That shit is still fucking gonna be legendary.
Absolutely.
So the Infamous to me, especially for Shook Ones Part 2, but you got other really dope tracks on there.
Yeah,
Survival of the Fittest, Up North Trip.
My thing is, what's Shook Ones Part 1?
It's on there. It's on the same
Anybody know that?
It's on Infamous.
That's the best sequel ever.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as superseding the original, that's not even close. But you can listen to Infamous start to finish and be like, this is that fucking ill shit all the way through. So that's my number one album, 95 to me.
Right.
Yours is Roots, right?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh my, last rodeo, brother.
Man, you already know I must agree with his brother right there. The Infamous Mobb Deep.
Yeah.
QU hectic, temperatures rising, start of your ending. Everything, that album was classic to me. It was like, I went to Cheltenham High, so I grew up in Mount Airy and in Cheltenham, but like half of me grew up in Queensbridge, 41st side of the hill. because I knew everything that was going on.
Right.
What they was talking about, and I memorized. There was a point, I don't think I could do it no more, but it was a point in my life where I knew every Prodigy and Havoc verse from that song. I mean, whether it was Noe, whether it was Prodigy, whether it was Nas, I knew their verse. Q-Tip, when he was on the track with them, I knew every single word for word on the album. So that album right now, to me, I think it said it all. Some guy in the barbershop. This happened a while ago when, Rockefeller was dissing like Nas, and, Rockefeller was dissing Nas and Mobb Deep and all that, and Jay, all that stuff was going on back then. And Prodigy had a statement. He was like, I slapped days out you. We made rap. You was raised off us. So he basically saying, like, and some guy quoted that in the barbershop. I would never forget it. He was like, man, y'all was raised. He's like, if you from the East Coast and you like rap, and you fronting on Mobb Deep, you was a weirdo. Because everybody that's from the East, I can't speak to people down South or Midwest or West Coast, but if you was from, like, Connecticut or Boston all the way down to, like, Maryland, you was listening to the Mobb Deep. And you was, like, influenced by Mobb Deep about their music. So that was that's how much that album was influential to me. Like, I think, like you said, 100 years now, you could throw that on. Like, this was a classic back in the mid-1990s. I could turn the infamous Mobb Deep on right now. That album could be re-released and put up against albums right now. That album will be smacking albums up easily.
It has no time.
That's how.
Yeah, they just re-released it.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
The 15-year anniversary. I think I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
But they released it with the second disc with
unreleased joints, kind of like.
Yeah, it was just extended.
Yeah, I copped it.
Can I just say a word about the cover art too? Because
that was dope.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it was fire.
That was one of the illest cover arts I've ever seen.
That was the top of the bridge.
Yeah, just Prodigy.
And you don't know when you're making that picture. You don't know that's gonna be hot.
Right.
That could be hot to you, but you're like, just because it was just like a regular picture that they was like, look.
Right.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It was a regular thing. They're like, yo, the photographer came and took a picture of them. Just where they're normally
Havoc was just in a leather jacket
or
some shit, and Prodigy was in like a jean jacket or some shit with the fucking do-rag tied Tupac style, basically. Mm-hmm. And then they had their whole crew in the background, kind of like Nas did on Illmatic, where he had his whole crew just kind of kicking it on the park bench in Queensbridge. And that goes together with Queensbridge, because that's just the way they fucking did it there. They didn't give a fuck about album sales or what was going to be appealing to the masses. They were like, I'm going to keep it real to the people that I actually kick it with and keep them on the album cover, on the artwork, on the record. So,
and one thing that you can say, my bad, babe. One thing you can say though, that they were sort of a dynasty that played off of each other. Because once you realized they was cool with each other, you saw Nas in the Only the Strong Survive. He was up there standing with him and everything. And he was like, oh, I already banged with Nas already. That's they from the same blood.
Right.
Oh man, that's why I said I was a shorty buster back then. I was 41st side. As a young boy, I was like, I was turned out.
Well, like they had the same effect where Boot Duck Down, where it's like, okay, you knew Black Moon, but now you got Smith and Wesson, and then they
Black Moon was a pioneer.
Right. Oh, they're connected. Oh wow. And then you bring Helter Skelter.
Whereas Boot Camp was more based on they were all on the same record label with Duck
Queens
Down and
is
Boot Camp.
a little more.
Mobb Deep and Nas was more based on they were both from Queensbridge.
But their first album came out before Illmatic came out. Like, their first album was not good.
Juvenile
no
Hell.
one even knows the song off their first
Yeah,
album.
Juvenile Hell. Yeah,
I liked a couple Jones up there, but it didn't.
A couple.
Much,
But I mean, that's not like I feel like they really went back and they were like, listen, we gotta make a classic.
So you could say, and I'm just completely guessing on this, but you could say they listened to Illmatic and they were like, yo, we gotta fucking we gotta make this shit. We gotta make this shit as raw as possible, because this cat from Queensbridge, from our hometown, is dope as fuck, and he's basically the best cat at it.
No, you know they did. You know they heard Life's a Bitch and they're like, oh, they got this 2 days in. Oh, we're gonna play our track with Raekwon. See what's up.
Right.
Like, they definitely came.
They got Nas on the album. They got
Nas on the album. But yeah,
Rapper
I
Nas.
mean, you went from Juvenile hella